it does stay wet for a while. So it does allow you to come in and blend. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Is It Worth It, where I go around the globe and the internet trying to find art supplies that will benefit you to being a better artist or just enjoying the craft a little bit more. Today we're going to go back to markers, and we have found the Winsor Newton grayscale brush markers. So I'm excited to look at these, mostly because it's Winsor Newton. Like, I was gifted these and they're like, hey, you should try these out. And I'm like, okay, because I generally stay away from the Winsor Newtons because it's a name, right? And it's a high-end name and they tend to be expensive. So I am very curious to see whether or not these brush markers, these dual tip brush markers, are actually worth it. So come on, let's go check it out. All right, so the Winsor Newton brush markers are in just a regular schmegular plastic case. All right, we've seen this before. Nothing too special. And it says brush marker is a twin-tipped illustrator's marker featuring a versatile brush nib for the ultimate in precise, flexible line control. Brush markers alcohol-based ink can be readily layered and blended to provide endless scope of rendering, color depth, and tone, ideal for a range of creativity application and home, college, and in the studio. Brush marker, oh no, that's starting to read it in Spanish. Okay, so alcohol-based, claims to be great. As you know, we mentioned before, generally Winsor Newton, the name alone makes it so that it costs a lot more money. But we're gonna check these out. All right, so the brush, or I mean the thing itself, makes it seem like it feels like the old school Tria markers, if you guys remember that. Like, it has that same bullet shape here, so it feels like a Tria marker. The labeling on top feels really plasticky, but you can tell that it's the wax thing on the actual label, not the marker. The marker itself is very sturdy. It's a nice size. Oh man, look at that brush. You know, that brush is huge. Right, so that should be pretty good. It seems very flexible, so we'll see about that. Let's see the snap. It's got a nice snap to it. Okay. The chisel looks pretty strong. Right, nothing too fancy with that. Not the strongest snap we've ever heard, but it's still there. And just like the Tria markers, you know, it's not, there you go. So it can go on there, but you really got to force it on there, right? Because it's not necessarily meant to go on there. So the cap is definitely something that is supposed to be just put to the side, because here, you know, so the cap thing is kind of a bummer that's what happens. But you know, it is what it is on that side. All right, let's see what we can do here. All right, yeah, okay. And we're gonna take one in the middle. We're gonna take the CG3 and we're gonna test that out. See how that works. All right, so it's a nice. It is a nice brush, right? It holds true very nicely. It gives you a nice tip. It stays pretty consistent. I mean, it seems as though it instantly, like, feathers itself out as far as color goes. So it's really, really dark at the beginning and then fades out, you know, towards the end, right? So that's an interesting, you know, that is something very interesting to deal with. right? It probably just adds another layer of blending if you wanted to, right? But I have to say, the brush is very nice. It feels sturdy, but it definitely does give you that flexibility that I was talking about, right? And the chisel just gives you lots of versatility. Goes down really nice. All right, so it covers quite nicely. The tip on it is not necessarily meant for that, so it's kind of, it's struggling a little bit, but it's not really bad. It's actually, I mean, I'm really surprised at just how good the marker is. This is the 4. There's a huge jump between 3 and 4 though. Look at that. All right, that is a gigantic jump as far as the grays go, from this gray to that gray. I'm not too keen on that, but it does let out a whole bunch of ink, right? It does let out a nice flow of ink. You can come in and blend it really nice. The flow is really good. The coverage is nice. The brush gives you some very nice versatility, right? So that's really cool. But I think the jump is just too much. Let's see, this is 5. See, from 4 to 5, it's still a big jump, but it seems like it works better. I mean, the brush is great. The brush is really nice. I mean, as we all know, I am not a brush person. So for me to tell you that the brush is good means something. Oh, see, everything is darker with what it seems like the Winsor Newton grays, right? Because this is a 10% and you can clearly see it, right? You can clearly see. So I would say that that's something to be concerned about. Maybe not concerned is the right word, but you have to definitely be aware of the fact that this 10% is really dark. All right, let's get that. And it stays wet. So one thing that I've realized is that it does stay wet for a while. So it does allow you to come in and blend. Although I have to say, just by looking at the blends right now, see, I knew the jump between 3 and 4 is huge. See, that's a shame. That's a real big shame, because from the Cool Gray 1, 2, and 3, that blend is amazing, right? Those colors are really close to each other, really, really close, and so that blend really works. But from 3 to 4, the jump is gigantic in how far we go along in the spectrum, and then 4 to 5 is also just a huge jump. So that's kind of interesting. It's a big jump. So let's see about. We're gonna do the brush side now. See if it gives us kind of the same. Yeah, see, from 1, 2, and 3. The blendability of that is just crazy good. But then when we come from 3 to 4, it's too much. Right? It's just way too much. So that's kind of disappointing. Because by going by the first 3, we're like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be great. These are gonna be perfect for blending. And then just from 4 to 5, so 3, 4 is a huge jump, and 4 to 5 is a huge jump as well. So that is kind of sad. That's kind of sad. But anyway, let's try some try some markers. All right, we're gonna go, and that is Faber-Castell. All right, we're gonna try some pens to see what's gonna be the best one to work with. If you plan on using this is Micron, Copic, good old Identity pen. This one is the Touch. This one's Touch, and I think this is Staedtler. Yep. And this one's Staedtler. Okay. Keep adding pens. All right, so we're probably gonna do this again over here. One with the brush, one with the fine tip or the chisel tip. So we're gonna coat it with. We're gonna coat it with the first three because I think those are the best in this set right now. All right, let's see. So with this, with all pens, the Faber-Castell worked well. The Micron didn't bleed. Copic didn't bleed. The Identity pen is obliterated, right? It's just bleeding all over the place. The Touch marker bled a little bit with the Coolgray 1 and 2, and then the Staedtler also didn't bleed. It also did not bleed. All right, so let's do it with the brush and see if anything changes with the brush. So we had, I'm just gonna do it again. Faber-Castell, Micron, Copic, and then the Identity pen. Touch, and then we did Staedtler. All right, so once again, coming in with the 10. All right, we're just kind of coating it so it's nice and coated. Come in with the next one. See how well that does. We'll do this. All right. Okay, with the brush. The Faber-Castell one was fine, again. The Micron bled in the 10, right? The Coolgray 1, Micron bled. Copic's fine. Identity pen, once again, is obliterated. The Touch bled in 10 and 20, so the 1 and 2. And with the brush, though, the Staedtler kind of pulled up, started bleeding in the 10 and a little bit in the 20, or in the 1 and 2. So... Okay, so we just got done reviewing the double-ended Winsor Newton brush markers, and I mean the quality of the actual marker is pretty good, right? The brush was nice and sturdy, flexible, giving you enough variety in the actual brush tip. And you all know, and I keep saying it every time I review a brush tip, I'm not a brush guy. So to have a product that makes me go, you know what, the brush is actually pretty good, does say something. So that is very, very important. I think the brush was great, the chisel was great, the marker itself I thought was really good. The problem that I really found was the jump, right? So Coolgray 1, 2, and 3 were perfect. Like, they blended so well. I mean, it was flawless. I was like, wow, this is really good. And then from 3 to 4, the jump was like, and then from 4 to 5, it was also like such a huge gap between the two. And it's like, oh man, that's really sad, because these could have been perfect. Like I would have went out and grabbed a whole bunch of markers, although I think the colored ones might actually be more interesting to try because there's probably more variety. So I might actually go into looking for a set of the Winsor Newton colored ones, just because it might actually be worth it. Because if they got the colors to be, closer, then the blendability of those things are going to be absolutely phenomenal. So, in the end, the brush was good, the chisel was good, the flow was good, ink coverage was good. It was just the jump that really kind of threw it for me. And they work well with most pens, so there's a lot of positives going in for this. The Winsor Newton brush marker, I have to say, I would say these are worth it. Go check them out. Maybe go and get the colored ones, because you might actually have a better time getting nice blendable stuff going. So definitely check these out. They were fun, very sturdy stuff. I would definitely recommend you go check it out. So thank you guys so very much for joining me on this episode of Is It Worth It? I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you got something from it. If for any reason you would like us to review some type of product for art, please drop it in the comments below and let me know, and I will add it to the list. Thank you again so very, very much for joining me. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe if you are new to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you are notified every time that I put up new product and new content is coming, because the summer is here and we're going to be putting out a ton of new content to help you become a better artist, or just enjoy the craft that much more. Thank you guys so very much, and I will see you at the next video.